Today's a day that I've been looking forward to for quite a while. I've been invited to the Indian Barbecue and Grill to meet with Meena. Meena is an entrepreneur and she has a really nice restaurant serving Indian food, and I'm excited to talk to her about chai.
My name is Meena Devi and I am from Doni Gansali, Tiri Garhwal. We came here in 2016 and we opened this restaurant in 2020. I have three kids, two daughters and one son. My eldest daughter name is Richa, middle daughter name is Ria, and my son name is Rishabh. I help my husband in the restaurant and my children also help us when they can.
Meena, because we're both women entrepreneurs, I'm interested in finding out from you what kind of experience it's been for you. You've had your restaurant open for 2 years now. How has our community embraced you, and maybe some of the challenges that you've had?
We used to live in a village, and because of the environment there, I used to work very hard. In our village, most of the women works very hard. For example, they work in the farm. They get the wood and grass from the forest for their cows and buffaloes. They also milks the cow and buffaloes. Whereas man usually works in the cities and woman takes the responsibilities of the family alone. But when I came to Canada, Red Deer, I work with my husband and I like it. So when we opened our restaurant, we faced a lot of challenges because of COVID-19. Due to this pandemic, there were lots of lockdowns. But our friends and family, they motivated us to continue this business. This restaurant is running because of my family, and we help each other, and this makes me happy.
I've had a little sip of your chai now, and I want to know, how do you traditionally make your chai here in the restaurant and at home?
So when make chai, firstly we boil the water, and then we put chai and ginger and keep boiling it for at least 2 to 3 minutes, and then we put milk, and after that we put sugar in it, and then after following all these steps the tea tastes very good.
Meena, my business is around chai. Everything that I've learned from books, conversation, and the internet. And I'm a white woman selling chai, and I'm really interested in stories growing up with chai and it being a part of your everyday life. And so if you could share any stories about the spices, or just having chai day to day in your family, that would be really interesting to me.
Before explaining you few benefits of drinking chai, I will tell you the story of my village. In my village, we don't have any road or any kind of hospital or any other facilities. So if anyone gets sick in the village, there was no good health care for them to survive, and because of this, village people would find the cure from their natural home remedies. So one of them is chai. There was a time when this virus called Haza spread all over the country. A lot of people died, and because of that virus, so many people experiment chai during that time, and they find out that the chai is actually helping people during this Haja virus. The chai gives so much relief, and the chai help the people during the virus a lot. This became like a medicine at that time. We drink chai a lot because we have cold weather in our village. It is normal for us to drink chai 2 to 3 times a day. There are so many ways of making chai in our village. Some, for example, some people like the chai with jaggery, and some people like to eat jaggery on the side. Also, some people like to add some leaves of holy basil, cardamom, for the taste and also to cure the cough or the fever. And it also helps the woman after the delivery.
I had a really interesting conversation with Mina at the Indian Barbecue and Grill yesterday. She was talking about her spices, what goes in her chai, what it feels like being an entrepreneur in Red Deer, Alberta. It was just really interesting. Today, I'm right into my kitchen using my chai spice in some cookies, and that's in preparation for tomorrow. I will be meeting with Laura and Colleen from a little collective called Finn and Faye, and they have a cafe with chai and coffee and some sweets, and it's a new business in Red Deer. Today we've been invited to serve our chai at Finn and Faye in Red Deer. It's a grand opening for a mother and a daughter that I've known at markets for a while. They're a true inspiration, entrepreneurial women making food products. So there's a lot of people that go ahead of you, and there's a lot of people that are parallel to you at markets, and you greet them, and they've opened a brick and mortar store. So we've been welcomed into this environment. She'll be serving some of my chai in her little cafeteria area, and then she'll be selling my product here as well. They've worked so extremely hard to get to this stage, and until you've actually felt what it's like to develop a brand, you don't know how much work goes on behind the scenes. So super proud of everything that they've done today, and it's just a great space. Inside Finn and Faye, you find a numerous amount of locally produced, a lot of women-made products. There's art, the original baking of and cooking and goodies of Nana Sweet Shop, which is where we met at the markets. And she also has some of my products, some local coffees. She bakes with the chai spice, so she's got these great molasses cookies that have buttercream frosting with chai spice in them. So that's amazing to add that layer of flavor. Baking, and then throughout the store, you would find cards, children's activities, a lot of baking and jewelry, some great wood pieces. So I think the big thing to state in an environment like this is that people get an opportunity to have a beautiful space to showcase what they make. So for me, it's my chai, and I get to contact everybody that maybe came in here for some jewelry or a little gift. I think that it's important for the artists to have a space for them to be able to sell their products. Some of the products are from a younger generation, like I know Michaela from Lux and Love is just in her 20s. And she started making these just out of the need to have something for herself. And then it, just like everything else, it just sort of snowballs. People love it. And so they're able to put it out in a market scene. And now she's in stores. So another great young story. Summertime in Alberta is a struggle for a chai wallah who loves their tea hot. So I've done a little pivot and I've added ice to the chai, and we just call it iced chai, and people love it. It's a little bit sweeter than the hot chai, but it's been a great seller. As far as the concentrate goes, they can just add the dairy to it or a milk substitute and add ice. So it works out really well. I was able to sit down today with Colleen and her daughter Laura from Finn and Fay, a little store selling local wares and handcrafted items in Red Deer, Alberta. And I have a few questions for them.
My name is Laura McLean, and I work here at Finn and Fay, downtown Red Deer, Alberta, with my mom. She opened this store a couple months ago, and it's allowed us to have a place that as a family we can work and bring our families to also work alongside us and also support many local makers within Alberta and hopefully eventually all of Canada.
Hi Jodi, I'm Colleen Fonkelrud. I'm the owner of Finn and Fay in downtown Red Deer. We've been open for a couple of months now. I make sweet treats, I make candy apples, caramel apples, all kinds of things, experimenting as I go.
So Colleen, I'm curious, we've shared some times together at different markets in central Alberta, and I am wondering your take on a market and what it meant to you through the years.
I dabbled in the markets. I've been doing the markets probably for about 10 years. We did the market in Sylvan, and being a part of the market community is very, very, it's very unique. It's a unique bunch of people. It's a creative bunch of people, and it's just a real neat community to be a part of.
Being at the markets was a real sort of dense sales period for most of us. And when COVID hit, a lot of us had to pivot. And what did that mean to you? What did that time period mean for you?
When COVID hit, we were to do the Blackfalds market. I believe it was it the next week or something like that? It's one of our biggest markets anyways. And we were all set to do that, but you know, we hadn't started, we sort of planned for it, but we hadn't started making anything yet because things were not looking too good. And as it turns out, everything was closed down. The market was canceled, as was everything. And then suddenly everything's closed. How do you get your bearings from that? Like, I think we were all in a state of panic and not knowing what tomorrow brought. You know, it was such a feeling of mistrust, I think, from everybody. And then when it started opening up and different restrictions and things like that, I needed to rent a commercial kitchen. And what did that look like? Were the commercial kitchens available? Where were they located? Were they in a church? Were they in a school, a community center? There was so much thought that had to go into just a simple process. So for the most part, it was just a standstill. And then as things opened, we were able to get in and get a commercial kitchen. So little by little, I think from doing maybe a dozen markets a year, it was 2, I think, that we did, I think the second year of COVID. And I had an accident about a year ago, and I was pretty well immobilized for about 6 months and sort of had to rethink things. You know, when you can't do anything for yourself or be by yourself, to think of what does the rest of me look like? I really missed not doing what my passion wanted me to do, I guess, I don't know. But anyways, I missed not being in the kitchen. I missed not making my apples. I missed not being, you know, with the community that I was accustomed to being a part of. Lucky family was around, and Laura was with me 24/7 most of the time. But for the most part, an opportunity came. My healing was coming along. An opportunity came for this place, downtown Red Deer, in the top of a house, an old house. It came available, and the opportunity for me to take it over and fulfill my dream. You know, I think, you know, when you're at a point where you're renting kitchens and having to do your quick cooking because you're paying for that space, what's going to sell, you know, you have to factor in so many things. And I think we are getting used to the fact that we can do whatever we want whenever we want to do it. So we're still getting accustomed to that. But yeah, being in this store has just meant the world to me, and it's so fulfilling. It's fulfilling because it's not just my business. I look at it as a family business. Any of the grandkids are, you know, welcome to come in and help, or if they need to hang, they can hang. And to be a part of a community like downtown Red Deer, it's really special in itself. I look forward every day to meeting new people, neighbors from down the street, neighbors from Blackfall. You know, it's just very exciting, a very important part of my life, and glad to share it with family and my daughter.
Laura, you and I met several years ago at a local market, the Little Deer Market, and we were selling our products, the Chai Wallahs products, and you came by. Can you just tell me what you were thinking and how we ended up meeting in this situation several years ago?
The Little Deer Market, I think, was quite a few years ago now, and in general, the vibe of the market was like the epitome of Christmas shopping, which is just a great thing, I think, for everyone. But we were a few booths down from you selling our caramel apples, and I would come over and gotten your chai honey nut, like the candied nuts, and I took them back to the booth, and I think we all had them, and then I came back for more. And then I'm a chai lover in general, and I couldn't ever find an authentic masala chai that wasn't bagged, right? That was delicious. So I think I had bought your honey then, and then I had also bought the chai and took it home, and I was obsessed with it. I had it all the time, and then used it all, and then had to source out where to find you because we weren't doing markets. Usually in the winter time we would slow ourselves down. And then I found you again, and then when we got the kind of the go-ahead to open this place, we had, due to our experience in markets and within the local makers community, we had our favorites that we wanted. And yeah, Chai Wallahs was definitely one that I think we talked about, that we were like, hey, no matter what, we have to have hers. And then with the Takeaway Cafe, I think it's something that, it's a nice collaboration, being able to serve the tea, a different aspect to allow people to try a product and try it in store to then be able to purchase it afterwards, rather than it being a guessing game.
What does it mean to you, Laura? I work with my daughter in my business. What does it mean to you to have this established store, Fin and Fay, for you to work with your mom?
So I think it's been great in the sense that 6 years ago when my mom started her business and started making caramel apples and doing the nostalgic treats and stuff, I was able to really help out in the market environment because I had recently just had my daughter, and it was a safe space that we could go. I could support you in your business. We could also at the same time be making money to help out my household. And it was a great place for her to grow up too, because market kids are just like, they love it. It's a great place. And I think transitioning into parenthood and then transitioning with you into something like this, it's been fantastic to watch this dream come to reality with her, because I know this has been something that you've wanted for ever, even before we started doing markets. And it kind of happened at the right time and the opportunity came up, and it's been great to work so often with you. And I think in the teenage years, you don't ever get along with your mom. Like, we went through many years where I was like, don't talk to me, slamming doors and being a teenager. But it's now I can definitely say that she's my best friend, and I can definitely say that I enjoy working every day with her, and having the kids be here is a great thing too.
My name is Priyanka Agarwal. I'm from Columbus, Ohio, but originally I'm from New Delhi, India. This is where I grew up. And, the first thing that I ever made in my kitchen was chai. That was in fact the only thing I was allowed to do until I was much older. So, my mom literally, like, ginger is the only thing that I first tried, and she taught me how to use it. And then I realized that just ginger chai got really old with my parents. So then I started experimenting and added more things, and I just, like, everybody wanted to have my chai. I became the go-to person for chai in my family. Then cut to 15 years later, I'm in the US. I'm with I've lived in all major cities in the US. I went there for my education, and just ended up settling there. But I've met diverse set of people, and they also seem to like my chai. And I was like, I never really realized something that I was made to do. People like it, and then just from there on, it just became my mission to just serve, like, just like please people, like especially when it came to chai, because it's such an integral part in our culture. When somebody comes to your house, like, this is what you make, and serve for them. So for me, like, so I really liked hosting people, like, serving them, and just very big on the hospitality front. So I think chai was an integral part of it, and which is why I decided to, like, perfect it. And this is why I've gotten to a place that I am today, with my now called chai bag, because it just refers to, like, the tea bag that you can use to make chai. I think that's what my endeavor is all about, like easy, convenient way to make good flavorful chai, not just for a cup of tea, but for a mug of tea. If you want a stronger, if you want a bigger cup, that's what I'm catering to, so you have that option.
That's
So that's my
fantastic.
story. Yeah.
I've been watching on Instagram your tea adventure and
Yes.
your tea tasting, and it's just magical for me to watch. Can you tell me sort of what you've been doing over the last little while with the tea tasting?
Yes. So one, my goal, I knew a lot about spices, and I could tell the difference between good chai and just bad chai, like bland chai. But I could not tell the subtle differences between, like, black tea, between all the different kinds of black teas. And why do we use CTC? It's a certain kind of cut. So why that? So I had all these questions in my mind, why a certain color of liquor is preferred over the other. Some people, like, they prefer reddish, some people blackish. So I just wanted to understand all that. And how can you tell, like, like master tea tasters, like in one sip, they can literally tell here, like, which garden it's from, so, like, I mean, I'm not at that level by any means, but at least I'm able to now tell, like, inferior quality tea, like tea from black tea, from like superior quality, even though they may be from the same garden. I'm able to tell now if tea has soaked any moisture, even a little bit. That was very hard for me because, this is like huge for me. So I would, like how tea comes in like those little envelopes, like you have to tear and then take a tea bag out. So I need to understand why is that, because I also, I mean, like wanted to keep the packaging eco-friendly and minimal. So I was like, why do I have to wrap? Why do people do this? And it turns like even after vacuum packing and everything, tea is highly hydroscopic, meaning it absorbs moisture. And the best way to curb that is packing tea right at source. So you know exactly when you plug the leaves. By the way, I also learned about the seasons, first flush, second flush, autumn, how the tea tastes different between second flush and first flush. So there's just a lot of nuances. And I think I just learned a lot about black tea in general. I mean, it's the same plant, whether it's green tea or black tea, but I think that was one of my biggest takeaways. And the second thing that I learned was the art of blending. Like, I mean, I was just blending from my kitchen, but like the engineering behind it, the science behind it, um, how do you do it like in a scientific way? Like the portions and everything, like keeping all the different spice notes in mind, and like how you're adding like the different percentages. So I think that was like really cool. What made you choose chai over other Indian products? I mean, you said, you read it over a recipe, but there are so many other recipes, for Indian food. So why chai?
I didn't really think about anything that anything else that India had to offer. It
Yeah.
was more about this one recipe that we added to our daily routine. And
Got it.
then talking to other people, then you get introduced to other foods and
Yeah.
other spices and that sort of thing. But I come from a Norwegian background, and we're not very adventurous eaters. And even though my family, my kids growing up, and they really do enjoy other cultural foods, I still don't. And so
Got it.
the chai was fit into my palate really easily,
Got
especially
it.
when
Got
it
it.
had milk in it and it had sugar in it. That's
What
perfect.
can go wrong with that, right? That's what I ask people. When people are even unwilling to try, I'm like, it's tea and sugar and milk and spices. Like,
How can
nothing
you
can
go
go wrong
wrong?
with it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I get it. And like we talked about this, like you drink your chai in the morning, so or like whenever like there's like a family affair and things like that.
Yeah,
So
I like to introduce, I think everybody expects it now, but in the early days, we would have, our carafe of chai and bring it to a function or a get together, a family breakfast. We just kept feeding it to people until
got
they
it,
now expect it. And
got it.
yeah, so we educated, you were talking about the American palate. Well, that was what it was like for me, is the Canadian palate. What is it that the Canadian palate will accept and experiment with? How
Yeah,
far away from their coffee or
yeah,
hot lemon water will they go?
yeah. No, I get it. And so was that also the biggest challenge? The next question I have was, what has been your challenge on around selling?
Yeah, that is one of the biggest early challenges, was that people just didn't know chai. And when we first began the farmers markets, people would chat with us, but they didn't know what the word chai was. They still
Mm-hmm.
say chai tea. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and the next big challenge for us, once we decided that we wanted to educate people about what chai was sourcing the spices and the
Yes.
tea. we would just go to our local grocery store and buy little packages of cardamom, and then we went into the more bulk dealers.
Yeah.
And finally, we connected with a family in the local larger city, the Datani family, and they were a wholesaler for Indian products. So, and we still buy from them now. I would love to be able to source right from the farmer,
Yeah.
but I don't have those
So
connections.
hard. So tell me, what is the most rewarding part of your journey?
The community, the community that you build of,
Yeah.
you know, it can be friends and family. That's where it begins, but then it just sort of trickles out from there into women entrepreneurs, into the community that buys your product and are, you know, tend to be sort of these healthy eaters, conscious of what they're putting in their body. And it fractals from there.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting how a community builds.
And you know, coming back, my final question for you would be like, you know, what's your advice towards, if any, you know, towards like young entrepreneurs like me, and or you know, people like in this industry, in the tea industry. You've been in this industry, you're the veteran, you've been here long. So, you know, what takeaways do you have for us?
I think going back to community
Yeah.
is one of your biggest sources of energy and reach. The hearing what you're doing as far as the research goes, that will also help you launch your product as a premium product, that you're coming at it from a knowledge base. So people will then trust what you have to say, and they'll hear the enthusiasm behind what you're doing. And don't be afraid to use the resources of what you have available to you, as far as the food scientists and specialists in the area. They have so much information that you don't need to have, because you're going to use their information. And the specialists, choose your business strategy one step at a time, and do that step really well before you take on the next step.
No, I think that's very good advice as well.
Okay, well, thank you. I'm going to let you go back to your kidlets.
Yes. Thank you so much. And thanks again, Mukesh and Jodi. And I look forward to doing this one other time, you know, maybe next time live. And, you know, just maybe a, you know, similar conversation.
Okay, that sounds great. Thanks.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank
Good
you,
night.
Jodi.
Okay, good night, Priyanka.
Good night, Mukesh. Bye.
So yesterday I had this great conversation with a woman who was in India, but she's from the States. And we talked about, she was actually at a tea plantation, so she talked about all the tastings that she had. And it was really, really interesting, fascinating for this Chai Wallah anyways.
It'd be so neat to go there someday.
I just want you to introduce yourself to the audience and let them know your connection to the chai.
Well, as you know, my name is Amy Richards, and I live in Red Deer, Alberta with my husband and 2 boys, Warren and Will. I'm a chemical engineer, and my mom was Heather Christensen, your business partner with Chai Wallahs for 15 years of the 20 you've had this business. And I've known you since your daughter and I were friends, so back in grade 6, I think. And so you've been a part of my life for most of my life.
As a teenager growing up in a household that your mom had this fascination with chai, I'm curious about what you were thinking when this was all going on?
Well, I guess for me, I really remember that she loved, using fresh ingredients in everything. And so that first little while, she would take the orange peels in our kitchen and she'd have the dehydrator sitting on the counter and in the oven even. Like she loved just using fresh ingredients. She also loved learning about different cultures and different food and different everyone else's experiences. So I think for her, I think she found a recipe in a magazine and sent it to you. And part of the idea was to do it together with you, to have that that reason for you both to spend a little bit extra time together and really connect, for sure. I remember going with my mom to the farmer's market. She had a little booth there, first with her chainmail and her jewelry, and then more successfully, obviously, with the Chai Wallahs business. And for her, I think that was about connecting with people and seeing people she knew, and the community of Red Deer. There's so many people, great people in Red Deer, right?
After we lost your mom, we really wanted to honor her in this community of Red Deer, Alberta, that she was worked so hard for. And so tell us a little bit about the fundraiser that we had planned.
We were talking about how do we want to honor my mom when she passed away, and we decided to do a cookie fundraiser using my grandma's recipe for spice cookies, with chai spice, of course. And we sold, I think 80 or 100 dozen cookies, and then we had to make them all. So we went to the Sunnybrook United Church basement and got together a bunch of your friends, my mom's friends, and we made the cookie dough, put it in the fridge for a while, and then had a baking spree over at the Sheraton with so many people, baking cookies, putting them on trays, carting them out to the outside and putting them in bags. And then I remember that day we had a nice conversation at the end where we shared memories of my mom, like my mom's best friend from, I don't know, elementary school, I guess, or Kathy was there, and they had a nice, we had a nice bonding experience, and that was really special. That to donate the money to, well, we were going to do causes that my mom were near and dear to my mom's heart. And we decided on the Red Deer Arts Council because she was on the council for about 5 years. So we ended up donating $1,000 to the Red Deer Arts Council.
This might be a little more difficult because I'm curious as to what memories come up for you when you're drinking chai.
It just reminds me of when we would have Christmas with my dad's family, and my mom always loved to bring a carafe of chai for everyone. She was so proud to bring that and share it with our family. And now as I drink it, I think I remember, every time I see you at the market and we get to have a little 1 minute together, and it does have, for me, kind of a Christmas taste to it because of those memories. And but also while we're drinking it now, the iced chai is so good too. Like it's just reminds me of my mom and really warms my heart.
Meeting with Amy, Heather's daughter, yesterday has me thinking about this journey with chai. This one original recipe for a simple hot drink has brought many important people into my life. It's given me each individual spice from a far off land, spices that support my health in many ways. My masala spice is made up of cloves that help me when I have a sore throat, and ginger and cardamom, which helps my digestive system in many ways. I can say every cold winter morning, a hot mug of chai with black pepper warms me from the inside out. The cinnamon and black tea are antioxidants. This wonderful assortment of masala spice has become a daily ritual in my life. This ritual has attracted a community into my life and enriched my life physically and spiritually. Chai and my Chai Wallahs business and products has allowed me to connect with my community in many different ways. I've been able to come into lovely Cronquist Tea House and see friends and family enjoying some time together over a cup of tea. And I can wander into Kerrywood Nature Store by the river in Red Deer and see a father and son pick up our chai honey and talk about the locally produced honey from right here in central Alberta. I join my community on a warm Saturday downtown at the farmers market and can relate to every vendor, knowing how much work it took for them to get here this morning. When I walk into a small gift store run by a mother and daughter, I get that relationship, that heartfelt pride they have displaying handmade treasures made by other women entrepreneurs. And when I meet with people from India, we often start connecting right away because we have that shared experience of chai. Red Deer has provided me with everything I've needed to grow this small business, and through the last 20 years, Central Alberta brought new opportunities and a wider area to expand into. We've been involved in business, celebrations, fundraisers, welcome parties, and funerals. We've worked hard and are recognized and respected company. We return year after year to the gift markets, reconnecting with people face to face to listen to their tales of using our products, a new recipe they've come up with or something they've learned. This person is now a part of my circle and what I refer to as a chai lover. It warms my heart when I'm at a totally unrelated event and chai comes into the conversation and someone says, "Oh, you're the Chai Wallahs." Like I said in one of the first interviews, at this time of my life, I identify as a tea seller. Chai has brought a purpose into my life. At this stage of business, I'm happy to be mentoring other entrepreneurs as they grow their passions. I encourage everyone to look at the one thing that makes you happy and see if you can grow it into a business. Like us, it might just be a weekend thing for the first few years, but it can also grow into a business that can become a lucrative and valuable and recognized company. In Alberta, there is everything you need to turn your passion into whatever you want it to be. The support exists. Give it a try. To wrap up, chai brings people together. It has brought us together. We shared time and stories and a connection. This film has allowed me to uncover and share my chai experience, my community, and my products with a wider audience. Thank you to everyone involved in the film behind the scenes and to TELUS for the opportunity. Thank you all for choosing this film. My hope is you will consider bringing the rituals of chai into your homes. Try some. It's always a good time for a chai.